I'm back. Mr. Clarke's back. Time to take a look at 1706, Fascism in Italy. Up top you can see Benito Mussolini, leader of the Fascist Party in Italy. See him here seated in a convertible car with his ally, future ally, Adolf Hitler. Mussolini top right speaking to a large crowd and some of the propaganda posters that circulated throughout Italy. The key objectives that we'll look at as we move into 1706, we'll look at the rise of Mussolini, the rationale and reasons why he was able to come to power in Italy. We'll summarize the policies of the Italian leader, Benito Mussolini. And we'll look at some of the key characteristics of totalitarianism and fascism. Okay, number one, why were many Italians outraged at the terms of the Versailles Treaty that ended World War I? Now, we're going to see that the Versailles Treaty is going to be one of the key causes of World War II as we're kind of moving in that direction. They had expected to gain additional territory, which instead went to Yugoslavia. The Italians were originally part of the Triple Alliance. They were supposed to be on the side of Germany, Austria, Hungary, but instead they flip-flop-swapped sides during World War I. As they flip-flop-swapped sides during World War I, they were promised a territory that would have been carved out of the Austro-Hungarian Empire if they fought instead on the side of the British and the French. They got double-crossed at Versailles, and as a result, that created an angered and agitated Italian population. And then obviously the Germans are going to get punished at the end of World War I as well, and they are going to form a natural alliance after World War I. Two, what were the post-war conditions like in Italy? Well, when you look at the reasons and rationale as to why a country might go to an extreme dictator and a complete change in government, things like high unemployment rates, rising taxes, declining trade, and political disunity allow for someone like Mussolini to come to power. You can see Mussolini pictured here and some crowds gathering to see Mussolini speak. What did Italians do to express discontent with the post-World War I Italian government? Peasants began seizing land, factories, workers went on strike, there were open protests throughout Italy, and as a result, the kind of discontent is brewing within the Italian population that's going to support a more dramatic shift to somebody like Mussolini. Question 4, how did Benito Mussolini come to power? Well, he organized the Fascist Party, promising to revive and restore Roman greatness. In fact, his famous slogan was he wanted to make Italy great again. He used terror and intimidation to force King Victor Emmanuel to appoint him prime minister. Can you describe the background of Benito Mussolini? He was the son of a socialist blacksmith. As a youth, he was a bully. He was known to flick people's ears, like in the church. He also threw stones. Sometimes he would hide, like in the bushes, and would toss stones at some of his classmates, people he didn't like. He was very well educated. He was a teacher and a journalist. He fought in World War I, so he had that kind of veterans experience to kind of draw upon as he claimed to be a military leader. In 1919, he organized veterans and unhappy Italians into the Fascist Party, and he was a very fiery and powerful speaker. When we look at Adolf Hitler, in the future discussion, you're going to see a lot of parallels, a lot of things that are similar between Mussolini and Hitler's backgrounds. Six, how did Mussolini come up with the Fascist Party name? It's Latin fascis, a bundle of sticks wrapped around an axe, a symbol of authority in ancient Rome. What promise did Mussolini make to his followers to restore Roman and Italian greatness. I'm going to move my quote down from here. I think it might be more appropriate down below. Another reason why we do that is during the former Trump presidency and his lead up to his victory in 2016 presidential election, his idea was kind of taken somewhat from and paraphrased from Mussolini's "Make Italy Great Again." He wanted to make America great again. Number 8, what was the name of Mussolini's followers? His most loyal followers were the black shirts. They were kind of his combat squad. You can see them on each side of Mussolini there. They carried out Mussolini's wishes. They were basically his henchmen. They broke up communist rallies. They attacked anybody who was against Mussolini or fascism. Through terror and intimidation, the black shirts influenced public opinion and even elections for fascist support. Number 9, what did Mussolini and thousands of his supporters do in 1922? They marched on Rome, threatening Italian King Victor Emmanuel III. Mussolini demanded either you give me the government or I shall take it by force. Fearing for his life, the king appointed Mussolini the prime minister of Italy. Later on, we'll see that Hitler is going to get appointed chancellor of Germany in a very similar fashion, except Hitler is appointed by Paul von Hindenburg, the German president, where here the king, Victor Emmanuel III, is intimidated to the point where he was fearful that there would be a coup or somebody would overthrow. And we know that often monarchies, when they're overthrown, the head of the monarchy can be executed. So perhaps Emmanuel was fearing for his life. 11, what did Mussolini and Fascists achieve by 1925? They had taken seats throughout the Italian government. Mussolini would take on a nickname, Il Duce. This means the leader, or literally in Italian, the boss. We'll see later on Hitler will become the Führer, or the leader. What happened to critics of Mussolini and the Fascist Party? Some were imprisoned, some exiled, others were just directly killed. 13, under Mussolini, Italy's economy changed quite a bit. He brought the economy under state control, but preserved some forms of capitalism. The economy tended to favor the wealthy and the upper class, industrial leaders. Workers were banned from striking, and their wages were kept relatively low. For the success of the fascist state, what sacrifice were individuals asked to make? They were required to give up their rights and freedoms in the interest of improving the fascist state or country. Often we see catchy phrases or slogans that leaders come up with. As we look at number 15, what slogan did Mussolini come up with to unite Italians together? 3 declarative statements there. Words: believe, obey, fight would be the 3-word emphasis there by Mussolini. Believe in the fascist state, believe in Mussolini, obey Mussolini and the fascist orders, and be willing to fight for your right, for power. All right, so when you see there, you can see another large gathering for a Mussolini speech. We'll see that in a very similar fashion in Germany. Mussolini also came up with an award system. If you look at number 16, what did families have to do in order to receive a medal directly from Benito Mussolini? There we go. They had to have 14 children. Not bad, 14 children, because obviously more people, more soldiers. Not so sure how excited the mom would be to have 14 children, but many did. 17, what was done to educate children to make them good fascists? And you see this in a lot of the countries we've been looking at. Soviet communist state under Stalin, Nazi state under Hitler. Education emphasized the glorious Roman Empire. They taught them about the merits of fascism. They were taught strict military discipline. They were taught that Mussolini was all-knowing, not to be questioned. Again, similar to Stalin, who created a cult of personality, Mussolini too was attempting to establish a cult of personality in Italy. Add that little note in there for us. Why would totalitarian governments want to win the loyalty of the nation's youth? Well, the youth are the future. They're going to provide the long-term stability and the support for fascism. Winning them over creates a constant flow of people who will serve the interests of the government without question. They basically want to root out independent thought and kind of make people almost like robotic in terms of their support for Mussolini and fascism. Why might young people be attracted to and supportive of totalitarian governments? Because they trusted the adults who taught them. They did not have any, they didn't really know different forms of governments. Very clear objectives with a totalitarian state as well. And when you think about a totalitarian state, there's some, I guess, uniform characteristics that go along with most totalitarian states. You saw these characteristics with Stalin and the Soviet Union. We'll see them here with Benito Mussolini and later on Hitler and Nazi Germany. So when you look at a totalitarian state, one-party dictatorship, the state controls the economy, makes all final decisions. You have a group of black shirts or Gestapo or henchmen to kind of root out political spies and force policies. Strict censorship to make sure that we have only one voice and one perspective. Government-controlled media. Schools indoctrinate or kind of brainwash or kind of really train the youth. And of course, unquestioned obedience to a single strong leader. Next, let's think about some of the common characteristics of fascism. And of course, Nazism is a form of fascism. Common features were rooted in extreme nationalism. They demanded blind loyalty to the state, aggressive foreign expansion, expanding the borders and power. They believed that the state or the government or the leader, the dictator, should be superior to the individual citizens within society. And of course, they're going to have the glorification of war. How did fascists view democracy? They believed democracy led to corruption, it was weak, put individual interest or class interest over national goals, which would be obviously something that would be in direct opposition to some of the goals of fascism. 23, why was Mussolini and his fascist government so popular? Mussolini projected a sense of confidence, intense nationalism, helped to restore more pride in the country. He even got the Italian trains to run on time, which is kind of a small gesture, but something that was very appealing to the Italian citizens and showed a strong leadership trait for Mussolini. What are some comparisons between communism and fascism? Fascists wanted to change the nation, where the communist ideology is kind of more broad to change the world. Both ideologies emphasized and came to power or came to hold in their countries during tough times. And in both cases, they're led by totalitarian dictators. 25, what was the reaction to Mussolini by Western governments? At first, he was commended for his government's discipline and order. The later condemnation came in as he began some of his aggressive foreign adventures, including into Ethiopia in 1935. And finally, the lesson reflection, how might Mussolini's successful fascist state impact other countries around the world? Other struggling nations and its citizens might be more willing to embrace a very similar form of government. And we'll see, obviously, this is going to be certainly true in Germany. We'll also see it in Spain in 1936. So certainly this is going to turn out to be a true statement. Hopefully you enjoyed our look here at Mussolini in Italy and the rise of fascism. Until next time, Mr. Clarke is out.